Aloha, Dr. Russ Rosen here. Welcome to the OHC System Community Masterclass. And today we're going to be talking about performance appraisals. And let's see, this just moved and looks really different here now. So I wonder if it's still happening. Okay, let me see. I'm going to go ahead and put the comment in right here. Let me know if you are here and feel free to ask any questions. And remember, there's like a 7-second delay or so, and I'll see if it's showing up live here. And it is not showing up live here yet. So we'll take a look again. We'll hit the little gizmo. Okay, there I am, far out. Okay, good. So here's the scoop, gang. What we're going to do, and I'm going to move this here so I can see if people are commenting. Okay, good. So what we're going to be doing is talking about performance appraisals, and most of us don't do them, and we wouldn't really know how or why. And so we all want to have a great team if we have staff, but the truth is, if you're not doing the performance appraisals, how are you possibly figuring out where the next set of goals are? How are you keeping them motivated and excited? You're not. It's really difficult to do if we're not doing these. And they need to be done in a formal way. So at least that's my experience. So the best reasons to do these performance appraisals are because it's going to foster a productive and engaged team. That's what we want. I want a productive and engaged team. And especially in the natural healthcare world, it's so critical that we've got a wonderful team that's helping out our patients, because oftentimes they'll spend more time with our patients than we do. So here are the upsides to doing really good performance appraisals. Number one is it improves our communication. So we want to open dialogue between the doctor or manager, usually, oftentimes the doctor is the manager, and our staff. You need to be able to open up communication. And I can promise you, because my wife ran my front desk and then became the office manager, I was shocked to hear what other staff were saying once she started telling me the truth. So really important thing to be able to open that dialogue, and it provides an opportunity for your employees, to voice concerns. Oftentimes they have concerns, they want to share ideas, they want to receive, and they want to give constructive feedback, right? But they can't do it if we don't have this way of doing that. So it's going to strengthen our relationships. um, and remember, the last thing that you want to do is have your staff just do what you tell them to do because you told them to do it. We talked about that a couple of weeks ago. Because then they're just doing their job. They're not thinking on their own. There's a, frayed cord on the ground. They don't do anything about it because it's not their job, right? So we need team members who are paraprofessionals, who have buy-in in growing the practice and doing their very, very best to do so. Another important reason is we have to align our goals. So a couple times ago we talked about, the business frame, and then managing by objectives, or how to set and achieve goals. We have that entire goal program, and again, it's an important piece of the puzzle, and it's an important piece of that frame. Number three is we got to recognize it recognizes and rewards their achievements. So remember, we want to reward the behaviors that you want. So it's going to highlight their contributions and their success. It boosts morale, motivation. It reinforces positive, behaviors. It encourages your staff to continue to excel. All of that happens because we're able to do these really good performance appraisals. Number four, it identifies training and development needs. How are you going to come up with the next set of goals? Remember, your present system will not support your future growth. We know Michael Gerber talks about if everyone's doing everything right, Michael Gerber of the E-Myth, if everyone's doing everything right, the practice is going to grow. But our present system won't support our future growth. You might be able to easily see 10 or 20 or 50 people a day right now, but could you see 5,000? No. Well, your present system won't support your growth. And we've got to figure out what to train on next. So we're always working on the next thing that needs to be fixed before it's a problem. It enhances accountability, and again, it's got to be structured. That accountability, that this whole process has to be structured. It can't be like willy-nilly between patients kind of thing. It increases retention. We discussed how expensive it is and how devastating it is to hire, fire, rehire, fire, rehire, fire, right? It can cost 3 times their annual salary in so many different pieces of the puzzle. Okay, um, it really helps support your fair compensation decisions. Remember, the last thing I want to do is give them a pay increase because they've been here for a particular period of time. I want to be able to do it because they're doing a better job. We're serving more people. We're making more money. So I'm happy to share profits with them, but I'm not going to be paying more if we're not helping more people, saving more lives, making more money. So if I'm going to be determining merit-based raises, we talked about bonuses, I think, last week, and promotions, we have to have a way of doing it. And again, the performance appraisals are the way to do it. And again, the last thing is gonna it drives continuous improvement, and if the if you want a culture of growth versus stagnation, you want a culture of excellence, it's going to be by regular reviewing where we are, what are our next goals, how do we get there, and again, without looking at how they're performing, we can't figure out what the next goals are. And just really recognize as you're growing, like you know, one of the things we do is we have these forms that they fill out. So these are the behaviors of the employee, how we want them to behave, and then these are the tasks. These are, you know, their job description. They grade themselves, we grade them, we have a discussion about it, etc. um, they might grade themselves an A on answering phones, and you do too. But now that you're busier, they can't get to the phones, right? So it's always changing. It's always changing, and you know, in our structure, the way we're setting goals, we're always just coming back for the next time we need to look at our next goals. We can just go through that form real quick and see what's next, right? Versus a formal review, which you know you can certainly do a couple times a year, once a quarter, but you know on a weekly basis when you're now what you've already got that filled out, you can skim right through it and see where to go next. Downsides of doing performance appraisals, and all of these downsides are because you did them wrong. One, they can be time consuming. So what? Subjectivity and bias. Oftentimes they'll feel that you're, you know, favoring one person over another person. So you've got to be very clear. You have to have objective criteria. They have to really understand the whole process, or there's going to be problems, and they'll think that it's unfair, which demotivates, which is exactly what we don't want. There's potential for demotivation, and that's going to come from the negative feedback. So if you're going to be giving negative feedback, you have to learn how to do that constructively and not demoralize them. Um, if you're only focusing on their weaknesses, you're going to have a real problem. So you always want to sandwich it and help them figure out ways for them to find solutions to the problem. I'll be going into great detail about all of this in the club on Thursday at 11 o'clock California time. If you're interested in more details on this, just put club below. I'll give you a free month into the club. You can come check that out. The fourth thing is it may not reflect day-to-day performance. So again, if you're only doing these once a year, there's a lot of water under the bridge. There's a lot of things that happen. So we want to be able to at least be going through that performance appraisal at least once a quarter. Doesn't have to take a long time. It's all part of the goal setting process. Again, if you want our goal setting program, which goes through extreme detail about all of this, just put goals and I'll send you our goal setting process. Um, Number five, you risk overemphasis on metrics where we've set a goal and I'm just trying to hit that goal versus also being really good in the practice. So they try and game the system, which is why again, in my world right here, we've got all of these things: teamwork, initiative, attitude, how do you deal with stressful situations, problem solving, patient relationships, mission, vision, job knowledge. Like there's all of this behavioral stuff, and then there is the task. So you really need to be able to, work with both of those. Again, it can create stress, especially if they've had performance appraisals in the past where they've been hammered, so that can really lead to a lot of stress. You need to let them know that's not the intent. The intent is that we can all do a better job so we can serve more people, we can make more money, and we can get bigger bonuses. That's why I call it a bonus appraisal system versus a performance appraisal system, because really it's all about appraising and making appropriate changes so that we can bonus you better. Um, and of course, there's potential for miscommunication. They can feel misunderstood, confusion, frustration, all of that. You got to be very, clear about it. Again, I'll give you some of the best practices right now, but you got to be very clear on what you came up with, what the new agreement is, and that you've got a process to monitor that those things are going to get done. They just don't get swept under the carpet. Best practices to maximize the upsides and minimize the downsides. Step one, be transparent. You have to be clearly explain the purpose, the process, and the criteria for the appraisals. Let them know this is not about beating them up or hammering them. This is about all of us together, and they're going to do a performance appraisal of you also. So there is one of the employee. There's also one of the doctor, right? This is one of the doctor right here. So they're going to do a performance appraisal of you also. A lot of docs don't like it, but it's critical. So be really transparent, use objective metrics. So you've got to use quantitative data, objective metrics of how you're measuring their tasks and skill sets, as well as the behavioral attitude, teamwork, that kind of thing, as I've mentioned a couple of times. Number three, it needs to be delivered. You need to deliver balanced feedback. So you want to highlight their strengths and achievements before hitting the challenging sides. Oftentimes we call that sandwiching. There's bread, then there's the meat of what you want to talk about, and then there's the bread. So we're not trying to get rid of these people. We're not trying to hammer them. We're trying to bolster them and help them come out of this doing a better job. So reward the behaviors you want. Let them know how much you love and appreciate them and all the things they're doing good. The way I like it is they're going to grade themselves, you're going to grade them, and more often than not, they know the challenges they're having, right? So they've already told you, I know I'm having a problem in this area. I know I need help in this area. So it's nothing new. And you're just going to say, so you and I both recognize you're having challenges in this area and look for solutions. Look for solutions. Now, we have a very specific performance appraisal process that we'll be going through when you've got a challenging situation in the club. I'll be going through that in extreme detail. But my experience is, just to give you a hit on this, in the performance appraisal, this is where somebody is having a difficult time. Huh. I usually just turn right to it. Oh, there it is. Where somebody's having a difficult time, there's all these things we walk them through. Most of it is headspace. You know, if they knew, if they just needed you to show them how to do it, they'd already be doing a great job, right? So when I go through, the first thing we do is we look at objective. What is the objective? More often than not, when you ask them to write out what the objective is, what they should be doing, what the task is, they don't know. and you're frustrated because they're thinking you want me to do one, two, and three, and you're thinking you want them to do one, two, three, and four, and every time they don't do four, it pisses you off. So we got to get really clear that they understand it. Do they want to do it? Do they see the importance of doing it? If they don't want to do it or they don't see the importance of doing it, I don't want to do follow up phone calls. When I do, I feel like I'm hounding people. They're never going to do it, right? So it's like you got to clear up all of this headspace benefits, all these things first, then look at the how, right? Again, I'll be going into great detail about that in the club. Um, you need to set clear expectations. During it, you need to come up with very specific, actionable goals, and they need to be smart, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and a time frame. Again, if you want the goals program, I go into extreme detail of how to set and achieve goals, and just put goals, and I'll send it to you. Then we got to follow up. So often we'll have this conversation. It oftentimes doesn't go well. They feel really bad, or we never said what we know we really needed to say. We set a goal and then we never follow up. So in our whole goal process, every week we're clear about this is what I said I would do between this week and next week. We get to next week and we have a brag session, not a rag session, where everyone gets to brag that they did what they said they would do and they're ready to move on to the next thing. Okay, and again, how do we know the next thing? Because we set several, we set quarterly objectives, or we're now at the end of that and we're not sure what to do next. We go right through that same form. These are all the things they do. Now that we're seeing more people, where am I having a challenge? So it's just a continual process. Again, I'm going to go into extreme detail in the club Thursday, 11 o'clock. If you're interested, you're welcome. Just put club and I'll give you a link to that. Um, you need to foster a growth mindset. So we need to frame feedback as an opportunity for development. It's not about criticism. In fact, with my doctors and in this program, we talk about how can we best support you. If you're having a challenge with something, that's my fault. Either I didn't train you right, right, or there's a challenge that I haven't helped clarify, or I hired the wrong person. But I'm not blaming them, right? That's not my intent. My intent is you tell me where you're having challenges. That's why I want you to grade yourself. And it's not so that I can hammer you, it's so I can best serve you. It's so I can best support you. And then the last piece is you got to ensure consistency. You have to apply the same standards to all of the staff so you can build trust and credibility. So often we don't do that and then we end up having problems. So when we do this appropriately, we do the performance or bonus appraisals appropriately, it's a really powerful tool. It improves staff performance, staff satisfaction, overall quality of care in your practice. Um, I'm always pulling for a staff member until I'm not. I'm always looking at what are we going to do to help you get to the place that you're doing a great job until we recognize that it's time for them to leave. Now, if you're doing it the way I'm recommending and they're grading themselves and you're working on something and you're using the performance appraisal form, more often than not, we recognize they're going to get this done between now and next week. And they don't. And we check in with them. And if they say, well, I was in the hospital, okay, that's a good reason. But if not, I just didn't get to it, kind of thing, then we have a come to Jesus talk and we let them know, if you're not able to get this done, I'm going to need to hire somebody else to do it. You owe it to them to let them know that their job is on the line. Now, some of the times they'll just quit. They'll say, well, I'm the wrong person for this job. Thank God. Let's start again. Hire the right person, get them trained up. But more often than not, they'll really step up because they know you're not kidding around. But you owe it to them. On the performance appraisal form, we literally write down if this isn't done by this date, I'll need to let you know and I need them to initial it. Like, I'm not kidding around. You owe that to them. Okay, just some thoughts. So if you're interested in more information on that, I will be diving into extreme detail in the club. And again, if you can't make it at 11 o'clock California time, no worries because I record the whole thing. I'm going to check back to see if you have any questions right here, right now. Let's scroll down and see. Okay, good. So I hope that helps. If you know other people that you think would benefit from this information, please let them know. Again, if you want the goals, program put goals, I'll send it to you. If you want to jump into the club to dive deeper into this, you're welcome to. As always, much love and aloha. Bye, gang.